Good evening. It's Vijay here. I'm back after a small break when I had to go to Chennai and Bangalore over the last 3 days. And now, Friday, I missed the market. And lo and behold, Friday the 13th, uh, the superstition played out, and there was heavy selling across the board, and there was quite a bit of panic in all sectors. Actually, it was a very, very bad day. And while I was in some functions, the bloodbath was taking place in the market. Now, having analyzed over the weekend, and also what is important is the RBI policy on margin trading funding (MTF) has come over the weekend, which is creating much more of a panic. So, what my analysis was there at yesterday, Friday's evening, will have to change because now you have a new variable, a negative variable in a market which is, not so strong, because we also had a severe round of selling by FIs, about 7,000 and odd crores, thereby wiping whatever the positivity which they had shown by being net buyers for last few days, that has just gone in one stroke. But that is not surprising, because what happened on Friday was what happened on Thursday globally. Globally, markets fell down, so they have recovered on Friday. So I was expecting that the FI selling will come down. But what will increase the uncertainty or affect the sentiment is the RBI circular, which says from April 1, 2026, banks, when they lend to the brokers against on the MTF side of business, they will have to have stricter norms. For instance, there are two or three things which I have noted down. So there is a 40% haircut rule from the bank to the broker. Today, what happens is the bank lends to the broker much higher than 40%, and the broker then decides what the haircut should be. And the different haircuts are there for different stocks, and I also think for different brokers. So, the haircuts now will become tighter, which means, see, actually, if you borrow from the bank, they anyway apply this 40% haircut. They don't give you 80% LTV, that is loan to value. They don't do that. They give about 60% only. So that is what RBI is telling the banks to do it for the brokers in the MTF segment. It is not something unusual. However, when it is directly hitting us when the markets are a little bit shaky, then the impact is magnified, and it will surely hit us on Monday across the board. Not that any particular set of stocks will be there, but it may hit the mid cap and small cap much higher. I was going through the MTF data. 3 years ago, MTF volumes were about 25,000 crores. Today, it has crossed 110,000 crores, close to 120,000 crores. You have mainly Reliance, you have HAL, you have Gold Bees, Silver Bees. These are the kind of shares which have got a very high MTF, component. People borrow against these shares, so these may get affected. So you can see some sort of shake in quite a few stocks. These are some of the stocks of ICICI Bank, HDFC, and the major large caps, because this is what the big brokers also might have done. They might have pledged it with the banks and taken money and used that money to buy some other shares. This is what we call the laddering technique. It works beautifully when the market is going up or in a bull market, but when the market turns, it collapses. For instance, in 2008, in January, in just a week, the market collapsed 30% for no rhyme or reason. It is because of the similar thing of what margin trading funding was happening. It is very different then, but the amount has increased. More people are giving this margin trading funding, which I think is a good thing. RBI has now put brakes to that. So it is short term pain, but I believe strongly that it will be a long term gain. However, we have to face the short term pain. So the first thing is, banks are going to tell the brokers, we are not, you will have a haircut of 40%, which means only 60% we can lend against whatever collateral you bring. Then the quality of collateral. Second thing is the quality of collateral. The quality of collateral was previously for the bank guarantee. They would brokers would give a bank guarantee with backed by 50% in terms of fixed deposit, and 50% what we call the promoter guarantee. That is, it is an unsecured portion. Now they are saying, the RBI is saying banks that they should have a 100% security. Now, if it's 100% security, then the brokers need not really go to the banks unless they put their FDs to the 100%, so that they may have kept that as safe money. Otherwise, they don't really have to use the bank facility to that extent. So there will be some mismatch there. Is now 100% it is secured, which means definitely the broker's working capital is impacted strongly, because previously only 50% was impacted. Now it's 100%, which means the amount of money available or the MTF rates also will go up. I mean, the amount of money available will come down, and the MTF rates are likely to go up, which will hurt the investors who put the stocks for under the MTF scheme. And the third thing, which is important, is the banks are supposed to monitor real time, which means, in the past, the broker would take a lenient view. When suddenly a particular stock falls down, say 20%, then he would not bother so much, so long as you put in the money next day. But today it's real time, which means he'll expect money real time. If it does not come, they are allowed to square off your position. So there is a further, Damocles sword hanging on the investors, because especially on stocks which are very volatile, you will see this kind of margin funding being tighter, and therefore more people getting out. So that is what is happening. In fact, last week, for instance, data showed that people have gone out of silver margin trading funding, because the volatility has been so high, and also the brokers have reduced it only 2.5 times they are giving right now. Previously, for others, even today, for other securities, they give 4 times exposure. For silver alone, it is silver ETFs alone, it is 2.5 times, because of the volatility. So a lot of people have moved out, and in fact now silver MTF funding is coming down. Then that's a good sign for people who hold silver. But that silver prices will not go up, so put money into margin trading funding, or rather very few will put into margin trading funding. So there will be a realignment of stocks, ETFs for the next few days. And of course, this is coming only from April 1st, but adjustments will start. It is a sentiment downer for the short term, but it will be good for the health of the market. So I'm actually happy, because anyway we don't do MTF, we are not leveraging anywhere. We are happy when we buy something, it will be 100% cash. So it does not matter to us. It could also provide opportunities in certain stocks and certain ETFs, which we will actively look at. Different people, different strokes, as they say. So some people get affected. They may get affected more in March, because that's the time when liquidity is tight. Even though the RBI regulations are only from April 1st, there could be some dislocation. So one has to be prepared for the dislocation. Fundamentally, it is very good. Long term, it is very good. I completely welcome it. But in the short term, there will be pain. So you be prepared for the pain. But remember, this is good for the market, good for the stability of the market, good for the integrity of the market. People, only the strong guys or the people who are serious people, will begin to come into the market and trade, even and take leverage. There's nothing harm in taking leverage. We don't take it. But all and sundry taking leverage with a higher amount of leverage, those days are gone. At least they're going from April 1st. RBI is clear about it. They're only dampening speculation. It doesn't mean that they're eliminating speculation. If you eliminate speculation, the markets won't perform or won't exist in the way they are. So be careful, but also be hopeful. More than careful, be hopeful that things are only going to get better as time goes by. So whatever you do, I hope it is successful, and I hope people are watching the match between India and Pakistan. I don't know whether it started, because I'm not put on the TV. So whatever it is, just enjoy the weekend, and be prepared for volatility, but also be prepared for opportunities. Thank you for joining me.